Hello, Warriors, and welcome back to the Warrior Pod. I am your host and your blue coat, Kirsten Martinez. Today we are having a very special podcast because it's our Halloween special. Yay! Yeah, cue spooky music. So today I'm joined with some special guests that I've had in the past. So, of course, there's me, and then there's
Maisha,
Matt,
Amanda,
Hannah, Savannah.
Yay! Wow, we love it. So with today's podcast, it's going to be kind of fun. It's going to be very interpersonal, very laid back because it's Halloween and it's fun. It's supposed to be scary, spooky, whatever. So that being said, let's talk about conspiracies, ghosts, and ghouls.
Yes.
Does everybody have a favorite conspiracy theory that they have in mind? Who wants to start? Well, I guess I can start. I believe in aliens, and I do think that the aliens built the pyramids.
Ooh.
I'm just saying,
Really?
there's no way that long ago people would have had the tools or the knowledge of what is it called? Is it geometry? Is that the one? Is that the math one that has the shapes? Geometry?
Yeah.
also projections and
I'm
probably
fine.
trigonometry as well.
Yeah,
True.
there's just no...
Something that they probably in the times didn't understand very well.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. There's just no way. So I really do think that aliens built them. And if you look at hieroglyphics and things like that, there's motions of people in the air, of these weird looking people. So I think that the pyramids were built by aliens.
So
I guess-
kind of sorry.
No, go ahead.
So going off of that, I guess it's not really a conspiracy theory. I mean, some people might think it is, but there were giants back in the day, and it said that they descended from the sky and in Egypt
Yeah.
around the pyramids. And some believe, that those were aliens. But they're actual, there's photos of these giant skeletons, and remains
Uh-huh.
that have been found that are over 9 feet. So could be a conspiracy. I believe in it. Yeah.
And who's to say they're not, one of the same as what you just mentioned?
Right.
It's been quoted and scripted as well. I'm not
Exactly.
going to name my source because some people might not, use that as a credible source. But there was a land, where there was giants inhabiting it. So they say.
Yeah.
But then you look and there's a lot of movies that, especially with pyramids, that kind of bring different light into it. So and this sounds funny, but Transformers 2,
Yeah.
that was all about why the pyramids were so important for the Transformers, the aliens, why
Yeah.
they needed that. Right. Then you look at Alien vs Predator. It talks about the predators used to be the ones who controlled the human race, and that they all actually were unified and gave them the ideas of building these whatever pyramids. But you also look across a geographical surface, and they all line up along the same line
Yeah.
from the Chichen Itzas in Mexico to the the Giza pyramids in Egypt to the temples and pyramids in Burma, Myanmar. So it's pretty weird. And how you would look at the Earth, why would they be all in that same area? You
Yeah.
know? And why is that shape so important? What makes there's, if you look at bridge structures, bridges that hold the most weight have triangular whatever beams.
Yeah.
And so, why is that shape so important in our world? Why do we see that engraved and hidden in so many different messages? Just something, or you think about the all-seeing eye and,
Yeah.
that's all, it's here. You know what I'm saying? It's what you see and it's what you know. So, I don't know how to better say that. But
Wow,
there's
love
definitely
it.
some more to stuff, and it's all about,
Yeah.
what you pay attention to and if you see it or not. A lot of people would hear a song and they say something crazy in the beginning of it, and it's you didn't hear that? Nope.
Yeah.
Not even listening for it.
Yeah.
You don't know.
And I think another thing with aliens, there's so many movies that portray aliens as these horrible beings, that are gonna come down to Earth and kill everyone and take over Earth. But in my opinion, I think that, which I know this is a conspiracy that many people believe, that the government has created these movies and portrayed these aliens in this way to, I guess, like, turn the human race against aliens.
Yeah.
But in actuality, aliens are actually, like, if they do come down to Earth, they're here to save us from the government.
Yeah.
And from
It's very, like, Independence Day. Like,
right.
also, I have to throw in there, Jason has joined us.
Hey.
What's up,
Hi.
Jason? If you want to introduce yourself real quick, just let everybody know who you are and what you do.
Alrighty. My name is Jason. I work up here at the school, custodial. But at the same time, I did go to school here to receive my bachelor's for psychology.
Ooh.
And I served 8 years in the Marine Corps.
Wow, nice. You gotta clap it out.
Yes,
I didn't know
sir.
that you served in the military.
Yes.
Cool.
I was counter intel.
Nice.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. Very counter intel. Wow.
Right.
Aliens, conspiracy.
Honestly, like, I wonder how much knowledge we're missing out on, like, how much history that we haven't had the chance to remember if the library, what was it, the library at Alexandria or something?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like one
If
of
it
those
hadn't
things.
been burned, I wonder how much history we're missing out on.
Right.
Do you think we would have had like levitating cars and stuff like that by now if we would have had that knowledge?
I don't know. It's possible, maybe.
Yeah, and who's to say it's like just something we haven't figured out how to use ourselves yet, like how to
Yeah.
channel, like let's say, okay, we did figure out how to build the pyramids, but we couldn't lift them with our hands, like we lifted it
Yeah.
with our mind, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Holy.
It is. It's a total reach. You know what I'm saying? And anything I say, it's mud. You know what I'm saying? It's not solid. So it's just stuff to think about.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely makes me think at night. You know, and I don't believe, you know, anything that I really read. I don't take it 100% to heart, but
Yeah.
I just like, hey, that's interesting. That really you could match that up and make sense with that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the world is so big. Like the universe is constantly expanding, and it's so vast. Who's to say that there isn't, you know, life forms out there that are greater than ours? And I mean, it's been proven that there's even planets in our own solar system that humans could survive on with a few like little tweaks. Like we could actually live on places like Mars. Like Mars is I don't know. The environment of Mars closely relates to the Earth. So I mean, you never know.
Right.
And we adapt to, like, as time goes on. So who's to say like other organisms can live on places like Mars, like start and then evolve into their own like human-ish species.
Right.
Well, I look at it like this. As for being whole, I believe we are probably from alien DNA.
Yeah.
Because when I look at what I learned about the sun and science, it's constantly expanding now. So that meant it had to be smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at Mars and you say, okay, they say, oh, Earth is in the sweet spot now. So I guess billions of years ago when the sun was smaller, I guess Mars was in the sweet spot at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it took, I guess, more billions of years before Earth could get in the sweet spot. So who's not to say that there was a thriving society and stuff on Mars, and then they left. They came to Earth when that got to the sweet spot,
Right.
and so on and so forth. Because, like I said, this is what I learned in my little science classes and stuff, that the sun is expanding, and by the time it gets to its full capacity, it's supposed to get to, Earth is supposed to get to, its ocean is supposed to get to boiling level,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's supposed to shrink. So apparently, once it starts shrinking, if it doesn't consume the Earth, it's gonna get back to the same
Yeah.
biological. And if that's the case, evolution of evolved. If somebody don't come back to it, but
Right.
Yeah. And whenever we think of like Halloween and stuff, we always think of like paranormal or like ghosts and like ghouls, but honestly, like the environment itself and like nature, it's pretty terrifying.
Right.
Like the way that it evolves, like the things that are out there, the way that like our species reacts to everything, like that can be kind of scary. And the way that the earth has so many things that are so dangerous to humans, from animals, plants, and like the ocean, for example. That thing is so vast and it's so deep. We don't even know the types of species that inhabit the ocean.
Well, speaking of that, it's almost like what is it, I Am Legend,
Yeah.
and the whole what's the Russian place that got the radiation?
I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name of it.
And the plants grew up and everything, and nature took over. But it's kind of just like here, when the people left, I started seeing whole different animals that come out that I've never seen up here the whole time I've been working, until people stopped coming and people wasn't here. Road runners running around,
Right.
different types of insects that you never see, and like you said, it's terrifying because you're like,
Yeah.
what is that? I don't know what this is. Why is this here? So,
Yeah, I was literally racking my brain for the name, and I remembered it. It's Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, that is right.
Gotcha. This kind of leads us into like the next conspiracy theory that reptile people rule the world.
I mean, in my opinion,
Right.
them is demons.
Those
Those are demons.
I'm a good conforming American citizen. I have nothing to say on this topic.
Listen, okay, I'll put a little disclaimer in here. Everything said during this podcast is all in good fun. Please do not
Right.
take us too seriously. And also,
Seriously.
please do not, FBI, CSI, please do not come kidnap us.
CSI Miami.
We are but lowly students and faculty members of KAMUCT. Yeah.
Oh, okay, with that being said, wow, yeah, all the reptile people.
That's
right.
Have you watched Jupiter Ascending?
Yes,
There's
yes, I
different
have.
races and classes of aliens and whatnot, and then
Yeah.
even they portrayed the bad ones to be the reptilians or whatever
Yeah.
it is. So it's
Yeah.
like, just take it with a grain of salt. Like, what you watch on TV is not real, of course, but who's to say, like, those people with all that money and all that knowledge don't throw in, sneaks?
Yeah, like where do
that?
they get these ideas from?
Right, and why do the ideas actually build off each other in other, other
Exactly.
senses? So there's something there. It's like being a fish. Like, you see the hook, you see there's a piece of bait on it, but
Yeah.
that's a dangerous piece of bait to bite.
How did somebody come up with Scientology?
Tom Cruise, I don't know.
Make it.
No, I know.
That's true. Like, how does that stuff all really come about? Scientology, I will never really understand Scientology.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen that TV show with that one celebrity who was a part of it,
Yeah.
and she went ham on the Scientology.
Yeah. I
Uh,
love her. She's awesome.
do you remember her name?
Leah Remini? Is that who you're talking about?
I think so.
Yeah, she's definitely one that did
Yeah.
leave Scientology, but
Uh,
it's crazy.
I've seen many a vlog. They're pretty entertaining.
I know that a lot of people say that Scientology is connected to the Illuminati. The people who are in the Illuminati are also a part of Scientology.
Nah, that's not true.
You don't think so?
They call it something else.
No.
They're actually pretty upfront with what they worship, but
I think the Illuminati probably was a secret society, as in the name of it.
Yeah.
Back generations, they
1400.
called themselves the Illuminati, but now society has basically made it into a reference to basically see wealthy people that has influence over different types of things, like corporations or government or anything. So they immediately associate the word and the label to that person. Oh, it's the Illuminati. It's the Illuminati. But technically, it's a person or people that has a genuine, I guess, what's the word? Interest in what's going on with certain things, and they kind of just, lobby what they do, or what they want.
It's True. Yeah. Sometimes we give a name as something we don't really know of, but it's not just what you said. There's so many different groups that get together and discuss like world agendas and world events, like, and some of it's public. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have what is it called K-12 Summit, where all of our leaders go and meet and whatnot. But I mean, there's some that are less formal, meetings that take place. And again, there's you guys watch Umbrella Academy?
Yes.
The end of season 2, like the the Majestic 9 or whatever they were, like they all have their hands in whatever pot, but they're their own interest groups. And you could believe like a real business person makes money off our troubles. They make money off our suffering and our pleasure as well. So there's definitely people who take advantage of that.
Now the G12 summit or the K-12 summit, that's where the aliens are to tell the government. Because you're meeting you got all the factions of the government who the aliens telling them, okay, this is what you got to do for the world. So that's why they go out there. You want a conspiracy on things.
Dang. Before we move on to the next question about ghosts, does anybody else have any other conspiracy theories they want to throw out there and talk about?
I mean, I don't have any conspiracy theories, but like I feel like I have like a different belief on like aliens and stuff. But that's because I'm like really spiritual in religious. So like in our religion, we believe that like there is like a greater, like not great, like humans would be always the greatest beings. Like there's no like higher than that. But it's also in our holy book, it says like there's like aliens actually exist, but they're not compared to humans though. Yeah, because humans will always be like it's just a belief. Nobody has to believe that. Yeah, so that's why I don't really think about it like there's actually aliens who could take over us. So I'm not really like scared of them. So I'm just like, okay, well, cool, they can come, like go. And like you said, they're actually probably not even like bad.
Yeah.
They're just probably even could be our like a resource or something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I tell everybody, if they come in a spaceship, I'm stealing it because I'm leaving.
Oh.
I'm out.
Like,
I want to go exploring.
I actually have a really funny story about aliens, and then we can move on. So when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, I grew up around my grandparents, and my grandpa is a huge believer in aliens. Like, he believes that aliens are mentioned in the Bible. He believes, like, all of that stuff. And he watches Ancient Aliens on the History Channel, so I grew up watching that and knowing that. And he always used to play with my sister and I, saying that the mothership is coming for us one day. So I don't know why. This one particular day, I went to class and I went to school, and I was just telling everybody in my class, like, the mothership's coming today. My grandpa told me so. But it's okay. Like, we're going to be fine. And I ended up scaring my entire classroom so bad that they had to call my mom to come get me and go home for the day because I was convinced that the mothership was coming, and I was convincing all my classmates it was coming, and I was scaring the shiitake mushrooms out of them all. And, that rest of the year was really hard to live down. I was the weird alien mothership girl, and that's just how it was. And my mom got a lot of complaints because they went home and their parents had to explain to them that, aliens weren't real. Like, there's no reason for you to be scared. Right. And that was a conversation that a lot of parents didn't want to have when I made them have it.
Oh.
So.
Imagine.
And it was all my grandpa's fault. Like, I still, like, we talk about it to this day about me getting sent home because of him. He thinks it's so funny. But my mom was not too happy with him or the fact that I got sent home because.
I wish I was in that class. That'd be fun.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah. No, I've seen them. I mean,
I grew up in a small conservative town.
Oh.
Like,
dang.
So even like the word alien is like blasphemy. It's like devil worship. So. So it was a whole other experience, but. Yeah, so moving on to ghost stories. Who has some good ghost stories?
Whoa, that's not like a real ghost story, but, where I'm from growing up, we had like a mental health rehabilitation center. Mm-hmm. and it had been abandoned for a long time, and so like our, all the like teenagers and whatnot would always go there and try to like, oh, it's a haunted house.
Yeah.
And it low-key was, like maybe you wouldn't see a ghost, but you like walked and there was like porcelain dolls like hanging from fishing line all from the roofs, and like there was just like one room where there was like 1,000 photos on the ground, and they were just random photos. So it was like you would go and you would scare yourself,
Yeah.
It's like there's a
Get the
cemetery. Yeah, they had cages, like they had like cages that were like looked like dog kennels, but it was like a little bit bigger and whatnot.
Yeah.
And people could definitely stage the area.
For sure.
But, the worst thing to come out of that was literally you'd get arrested for going on it. So a lot of my friends caught, loitering and prowling charges at 16 years old doing the whole ghost story adventure,
Yeah.
and so it's, it is. That's right. It's, I guess the people were trying to sell the property, so like you can't sell it if people are constantly running on and trespassing and whatnot. So it's like, and it was like a $4 million piece of land that they had like on a riverfront, and they couldn't sell it because everybody was oh, it's haunted, no way. But you never know. Sometimes people in those places might have they might carry demons with them. You never know, or whatever. And who knows, that might get lost in there. I don't know. I don't watch Ghost Hunters, but shoot, I don't want to find out.
I think a lot of the time though, it's the ideology, that something is there, and that if your mind believes that something is there, it's almost like the placebo effect.
Mm-hmm.
So like if your mind thinks that there's like these demons or scary things there, of course your mind's going to trick itself to thinking that, oh, this really moved or that really was a shadow. Now I do believe in ghosts. Like I think that they're a real thing, and I really do think that they're out there. But I think the majority of the time we end up just scaring ourselves, especially in situations like that where things are normally staged in order to scare kids or keep them off of the property if they're trying to sell it, especially. But I grew up with like the same sort of things. We had a nursing home that burnt down, and it was always said that the spirits of the older people who they couldn't get out, like lived there and haunted. Like the building was like boarded up, and also that hotel in Mineral Wells. I forgot the name of it, but it's like that really, really old hotel, and it's gorgeous. Like it's so beautiful, and it has like this giant ballroom. It has an indoor pool, but it's like abandoned, and there's graffiti everywhere. And I'm not going to say that I did or did not enter or trespass on this premises when I was growing up, but that place was also really terrifying to see at night and go in there because. Also, it was very unsafe. Like, it had stairways that were, like, falling apart. But, whenever you're 15, 16, and it's you and all your cousins going out to explore, like, who cares about safety? And we would, like, open doors, and they would lead to nowhere and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right.
And then we'd hear things. There's probably rats and stuff, but...
I only had one ghost experience. Ooh. Well, I done had several weird experiences, but... pretty much one ghost experience. So when I was younger, my mom passed away, and we was at her wake. And I remember to this day, I went outside and I sat down on the steps, and this teenage boy came and sat down next to me and was like, "It's gonna be all right, Jason." So I was like, "Okay." So that was the end of the conversation. Walk back inside the wake and go, who was the boy outside? Nobody seen the boy.
Wow. Oh.
So I didn't know. To this day, I was like, I guess. I thought it was a pastor's son or somebody, but nobody had ever seen him. So then, on that note, as for the whole ghost thing and spirits, I'm kind of leaning toward, like, when you die, you have a source of energy about you now, even when you're alive.
Yeah.
So when you die, that energy is not contained in a vessel of your body.
Right.
So the only thing I'm kind of confused about, like, well, not confused, but interested about is, does that energy stay as one conscious energy, or does it disperse? Because the thing is, I know a lot of people say when a family member or somebody close to them died, they feel their presence.
Yeah.
So you got multiple people that knew this person or whatever. Does that energy disperse into multiple people as when people say, oh, I feel their presence?
Yeah.
Or does it stay one conscious energy substance or whatever and just goes about
Yeah.
roaming the world?
Right.
And it just happens to manifest to certain people.
Yeah. My grandpa that I was really close with on my dad's side passed away when I was like 4 or 5. And my grandparents' house is like out in the country, and we had like this giant street light on our dirt road. And it's like the one street light, it's the one light that shows like the front of the property. And whenever he first passed away, I remember going to the kitchen, and we have like this big window in the hallway, and I looked outside it, and I swear that I saw like it's like a shadow, but in overalls. Like I couldn't see the face, but my grandpa always wore like the very like old traditional country overalls. And for like almost a week, I remember going out at the same time, because after the first time I saw it and I looked back, it wasn't there. So I was like, okay, I'll try this again. So throughout that week, I just continued like to go and I looked for him. And I didn't see him again after that night, but I swear that I saw him like under that streetlight. I don't know if that was my child mind like missing my grandpa or if it really was like him looking after me. But yeah, I think that whole like spiritual thing, because another thing like with the ghost TV shows, a lot of people see that orb, like they see that spiritual like light, and they're like, oh, that's a ghost. So
Yeah.
who knows?
I don't have any personal like ghost stories. People in my family have, like a lot of them have. Only thing I've ever experienced with like spirits is just being visited in my dreams, and I know it's not me just dreaming of them, because I've never ever in my entire life felt the feeling that I do like when they visit me.
Yeah.
It's a feeling like no other, and it's so weird. It's just so weird, but I love it because they're family members, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time that happened to me. I think I was a junior in high school, and it just felt like when as soon as my uncle left my dream, like outside my room, I like woke up, and like I can't even explain the feeling, but it was honestly like it was pretty amazing. But never have I ever like had a conscious awake experience.
Yeah.
Which low-key I kind of do wish I had a. It's like it's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. Were you guys ever told that freckles were angel kisses?
No.
Growing up, that's one of the things like my mom always told me. So I don't know if you guys can see it. People on the podcast can't see it because they're listening. But I have a whole bunch of freckles on the left side of like my eye, and my mom always told me that it was because like that's where the angels kissed me at night, was right there on the side of my face. And so every time that I would get a new freckle, I'd be like, Mom, look, an angel kissed me last night.
Aww, so sweet.
Lucky you.
I'm just full of angel kisses, y'all. I'm blessed.
Mine
Bro,
was
I can put
always-
in fake angel kisses. Like,
That would suck. You go to the doctor and it's like, oh, that freckle's actually cancer. That's my mom did that. If I had freckles, I was in trouble because that means I got too sunburned.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
I got freckles on my back and stuff, but my face is kind of evened out now. But
Yeah.
does this mean I didn't put on enough sunscreen?
Doesn't mean no
Get
angel
in
kisses.
trouble.
Hannah, I know you talked about, yesterday, you talked a little bit about this podcast, and you had a story about something from the Philippines, right?
oh yeah, okay, so my grandma used to tell us all these scary stories because she was like super into horror. And actually, I'm not gonna lie, Southeast Asia goes off with the folklore.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's so crazy. So the Philippines has their own version of like vampires and stuff like that,
Yeah.
called like the aswang. But instead of like, there's like different specialties. There's like different categories of aswang. And my personal favorite is the manananggal. It's spelled crazy. It's MANANA. Is there another AN? GGAL. Manananggal. And she separates from her lower half. And she like flies in the night. Wow. And like will land on people's roofs. And like through the chimney, she'll like lower her tongue. And like if there's like a pregnant woman in the house, she'll literally eat the fetus out of the stomach.
That's so funny. I'm crying.
How are y'all laughing?
Yes, it's so crazy. And so the manananggal will literally feed on unborn babies. Fetuses, you know, the like. And if you find the lower half of a manananggal, if you salt it, she can't reattach in the morning and you've like defeated her.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
But the way it goes is like she'll like reattach every night and keep doing it. Yeah.
Dang.
There's also like forest trolls and like there's like friendly folklore, like you know, guys in the forest, like giant dudes with big old cigars. Yeah. It's like a goat dude.
I know a lot of like Hispanic folklore just because of Christian. Like of course there's like the curse of La Llorona, which is like the lady of the lake whose children like drown in the lake, and so she like haunts lakes in Mexico. And Christian said that his mom used to, whenever he was like bad at night, he'd be like, you better behave, you better stay in bed, or else like La Llorona's gonna come for you.
Right.
And like so I guess it's like their version of the boogeyman. It's like La Llorona. So.
Speaking of that, am I allowed to recommend TV shows?
Yeah.
All right. It's on HBO Max, but if you have other ways of watching TV, the show's called The Outsider, and it's like right along the lines of what we're talking about. It's like a crime mystery thriller. It's got Jason Bateman in it for a little bit.
I love Jason.
Yeah,
Bateman.
it's actually, and everything you just said, it's like, so it relates to that, and it actually puts a really crazy picture together of what something, like if that was real. Like if that really happened, or if yours was real, like now it's people going after it, and it's like, oh my God, no one's ever gonna believe us. Like we have to.
Bonkers.
So
is it real or is it fictional?
That's it's fictional, but I mean, like me watching it, I just sat and I was like, you know what, I really wouldn't even ever think past that, because across every major like culture, denomination, whatever they are, they all have like similar things. You know what I'm saying? Like they all have something that comes and takes kids, or they all have something that haunts in the closet. You know what I mean? But every group has their boogeyman per se.
Yeah.
Mine didn't happen till I was 13 when I seen Candyman.
I was scared too, man.
I was scared half to death.
I was scared too.
That is my boogeyman.
The Candyman?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Oh,
I've seen
yeah.
oh gosh, what is that movie? It's the old movie where he like takes people's eyes.
Ooh.
What is it?
Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Jeepers Creepers. The Jeepers Creepers. Where'd you get those people? That song terrifies me. It freaks me out.
Scary.
And like I'm just not about that Jeepers Creepers. And the name itself, to me, that sounds like such a playful name, like Jeepers Creepers. It sounds like such a kiddie Halloween thing. No, that thing's terrifying and it takes your eyeballs.
It's so scary. Wow.
And then of course there's I don't know if you guys know about it, but there's an island. I don't know if it's off the coast of Mexico or not, but it's like the island of the dolls. It's where like a bunch of old dolls are like strung up, and there's like this shack in the middle of it, and there's the original doll, like the OG doll that started it all, that's like in the middle of this shrine. It's very interesting. BuzzFeed Unsolved did a whole like episode on it, and they actually went to the island and saw the original doll, and the townspeople like who are all familiar was telling them like, don't go to the island. They're all super familiar with it. They're like, don't mess with it. Like the spirits are there. And I've always believed that dolls freak me out. Like I hate dolls because they're empty vessels, and I think that souls or bad things can inhabit them. And so an island full of dolls is like my worst nightmare. One of my worst nightmares. So
Chucky.
Yes, yes, exactly. I hated Chucky as a kid. I just think that stuff is just so. Yeah. And then we have Goatman's Bridge, which is actually around Denton, which Hannah and I looked up yesterday.
Yeah, we were looking at bridges and stuff. I mean, because I go to Maxdale Bridge a lot, which is literally 15 minutes from here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a nice hangout spot. But I had heard there's a bunch of different stories about it. Like, there's a story where, like, there's, like, a drunk school bus driver that literally drove off the bridge with a bunch of kids. It's a giant suspension bridge. Like, it's huge and, like, really high up. There's also, like, this one about, like, the phantom semi-truck driver. There's also one about, like, this guy that jumped off after he couldn't save his girlfriend.
Oh my
I heard
There's a
that one.
bunch
I've
of
heard
them.
that one.
Yeah.
That was like
is
the story behind the
low-key
bridge.
creepy.
It was like, they did it for love.
I know
Yeah.
there's supposed to be some kind of little bridge out there in Gatesville.
The Lampasas River? Oh no, that's in Lampasas.
That's probably what that Maxwell
Yeah.
Bridge is going
I
over.
don't
though.
know.
Okay, oh yeah, you're right.
It probably is what
But
the
the
But it
limit-
is creepy under that bridge over here.
I didn't even
Down
know
the
there was a bridge
road.
there.
Right there at the Lampasas River. We went fishing down there and it's like really creepy.
There's
It's
just
a-
something about like bridges and like lakes, because if you think about it, like bridges are used in a lot of like spiritual things, right? Bridges are used to pass over to the spirit world. I love like Studio Ghibli, and they use a bridge to pass over into there. Like a lot of movies use bridges as a symbol.
Bridge to Terabithia.
Yes, like all
Yes.
yes, all of these things. So like bridges are terrifying. I also hate cabins. I hate wooden cabins. I don't stay in wood cabins. If I go someplace, like it's as far away from a wood cabin as I can be, because I feel like almost every single scary movie has a wood cabin involved in it, in some shape, way, or form. I don't care if it's a picture of a wood cabin. I don't care if the killing's happening in a wood cabin. I don't care. They're in there somewhere, and I hate it. Not about it. I'm not. I will never, ever stay in a wood cabin, ever.
Do you and your husband live on post?
No.
Okay, I was about to say. Those are just wood cabins with paint.
Yeah. No. Anything similar to it, I'm not
That's
about
how
it.
cheap they are.
That's hilarious, though. That is hilarious. Get on him. Get on him, man.
That's a conspiracy. What's up with these houses, huh?
Oh
Why are they made out of nothing?
So what's the deal with airplane food?
Oh
I
my
know,
god.
right?
So we're reaching the time limit for the podcast. So I have one more question for everybody. What are you most looking forward to this Halloween?
I'll go first since I'm the party pooper. I'm not Halloweening this year.
For shame.
Yeah, you know what? My son had like $600 worth of dental work had to be done because of candy. So it's like I'm not even gonna put him through the pressure of having to get it and not eat it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Poor
so
guy.
they won't even know it's the day. You know?
Candy's
Coronavirus.
So I was either thinking, well, I don't do trick or treat no more. It's more or less get in the car, drive, get out, go to trunk or treats, get out. They can go.
I will be here for that.
They can do whatever they can get all the candy that they want, and then they can get back in the car and we can go to another trunk or treat.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then this whole situation of 2020 happened, and the little crazy psychotic mind comes out, and I'm like, how about I just put a bowl of candy out there on my porch and a sign that says COVID quarantine.
True.
Let's see how many people want to come get some
Oh
candy.
my gosh.
Yeah.
You should like write it corn treat.
Ooh.
Wow.
No, I want to see the
Candy
fear.
quarantine.
Because honestly,
Wait,
right now,
Triangles.
like really, like this is like not to say that I'm old, but I'm old,
Oh.
and like porn, like I never thought I'd live this far to see some more new crazy stuff. So I'm kind of like horrified right now.
Oh my
Because
god.
I've seen a lot of stuff since I've been born in the world.
Yeah.
And been through a lot of stuff, being in the military and doing what I did. And like just life in general and youth and everything. Like I got a really interesting life if people peek inside my brain.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is, like I said, it's just came to this and like it's coming to Halloween and this is kind of like a horror story
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
This is like some kind of political hysterical, weird type of horror story movie that I've seen before.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Do y'all remember when people were trying to tell us like how to measure how long you should wash your hands, and some people were like, you should sing happy birthday to yourself while you wash your hands? Think about how creepy that is. Like during a pandemic, you're just like washing your hands, singing happy birthday to yourself.
That's something that you would see in like the
we're
movie
doing
It.
creepy stuff.
It might be the last birthday
Oh
song
my
you
God.
hear.
Oh my gosh, Matt!
We're doing creepy stuff.
That was so macabre.
Oh.
I love Halloween for like the vibes. That's
Yeah,
like my,
right.
my favorite thing that I look forward to. I think it's so interesting. And Halloween actually started out as like a pagan holiday. So Hallows is actually like, it means like saints. And so it actually started out as like worshiping the saints, and people used to disguise themselves in like costumes to scare away like demons and things like that to not inhabit them. And jack-o'-lantern sack is like a symbolism of, I forgot the exact word for it, but they were like used as a symbol for something. But when the Romans took over like that part of the pagans, it just kind of like evolved and it spiraled. So I just love learning about like the history of it again every year. I love the Halloween movies. I love the pumpkin scented candles. Like I'm a very basic white girl when it comes to Halloween. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Pumpkin spice lattes.
I actually do like pumpkin spice latte, but I love pumpkin anything. Like I love
would
pumpkin
try the
bread.
pumpkin spice latte. I can't do it.
I love it all.
I love
Try with chai and pumpkin foam.
Yeah.
It's so good.
You've had some of my coffee before, and you
Okay, well
liked
that
it.
was different. It wasn't like a straight pumpkin spice
Yeah.
latte. It was
Okay.
like,
But it's still good.
Okay.
for the
Guess I
record,
can
we're not
say
sharing drinks.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this spooky podcast. As I stated before,
We loved it.
as I stated before, please do not take anything we say to heart or seriously. Believe what you want to believe. Be your own person. Please make sure you check out the Texas A&M University Central Texas Truck or Treat that is coming up. Amanda, do you want to talk about that real quick?
It's just on the 29th of October, next Thursday, from 6:30 to 8:30. Bring your kids. Bring anyone. It's going to be a drive-through event to maximize social distancing. So you can find more on in your student email, and as well as we're going to post it on our social media pages. So
All right. Thanks, guys. We will see you next week.
All right.
Thank you for
Bye.
having us.